What was General Grievous's most impressive kill? Greetings, Acolytes, and welcome back to the Archives. General Grievous needs no introduction, as the HoloNet gave him his nickname, the Night Slayer, and that's pretty much everything you need to know. He made a hobby out of what most thought to be impossible. Grievous was a killer of Jedi. Even members of the High Council were not safe when Grievous was around. He had gained a notorious reputation in the Clone Wars among the Jedi of the Republic for being an unstoppable, an uncatchable monster. All the while, he was fetching away their lightsabers across the stars, murdering Jedi in droves. Grievous was powerful and feared, but what exactly was his most impressive kill? Grievous fought so many different types of Jedi, all different species and specialities, but not all Jedi are created equal. So which feather in the General's cap was the most monumental? Well, for this we decided to dive deep into the Holocron library and dredge up the time that Grievous triumphed against a Jedi of a mythical species, the Star Dragons. So join us as we open a holocron and explore what just may be General Grievous's most impressive early kill. The Jedi species was known as a Duinagwin, or an easier name that we'll be referring to them, the Star Dragons. These flying reptilians were considered mythical by the galaxy, large part due to their history, and it was only until the time of the Clone Wars that people started to accept them as a part of common society in a galaxy far, far away. For a great many years, this species of Star Dragons were considered spacefarer tales, spread amongst seedy cantinas everywhere. But the Jedi knew full well that the species were indeed real, although they were rare, and they were rather kind and helpful, if not mysterious, and very wise. In appearance, they lived up to their Star Dragon name. Different members of the species may vary in appearance, but generally speaking, they had long, segmented serpentine bodies with many legs, usually a pair for each segment down their tail. Along the tops of their bodies would be what many would call a torso, where they had arms and articulate fingers. Their heads could range from looking like a dragon snout, complete with even horns, to even being a bit more dog-like with longer ears. And a constant for all of them was their wings, though some looked more scaly and reptilian, while others were sleek and were more translucent. In coloration, they ranged from various shades of gray, purple, blue, and black. They were often extremely long as well, with some averaging 10 meters, but others were rumored to have existed of up to 100 meters or longer. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of distinguishing features to determine the gender of a Star Dragon, because it was known that they only had one gender in their entire species. Precious little is known about their mating process, or how intelligent they were, or even how they are born, as whenever two intelligent Star Dragons mated, their offsprings were little more than unintelligent, ravenous monsters that the parents would often have to destroy. It was believed that if these things were left to run rampant, the dragons could actually turn out to be extremely dangerous, as their genetic code varied so greatly. As an example, it is theorized that the Great Dragon species is actually a descendant of one of these Star Dragons, one that settled on Tatooine and slowly lost their mind. Some of them had the ability to exhale superheated gases that took the form of plasma or fire. These gases were 20 to 30 times more powerful than the average turbo laser was. But that wasn't the only strange thing about their bodies. It was theorized that since their wings looked far too delicate to take off from most planets' gravitational fields, that they may have had organs that acted as if they were repulsor lifts, which allowed them to fly. Once they were in space, they were able to survive in the vacuum for weeks on end to even months. In the early days, this is how most spacefarers first came across the Star Dragons. Other than this, very little is known about their species, from their physiology, as none of them have ever given their bodies to science or died in a way that scientists could study. Think of them as sort of like an adjacent species to Yoda, extremely powerful and secretive. It was known that their lifespan could be as long as 6,000 years. Whenever they died, or feel that their life was growing short, a dragon would vanish off to a place known as the graveyard, where all of their kind ventured to die. It is not known where this place is, nor has it been disclosed by the dragons where their home planet is located. Most of them are extremely guarded about their species, and it's rare to see more than one in a single location. They live in isolation from one another. A dragon will seek the farthest corners of space. There's no real rhyme or reason to their migration or their living patterns, so attempting to chart where the planet of origin could be is considered nearly impossible. But according to many reports, they are quite pleasant to interact with. These dragons have calm temperaments and are well-mannered, as well as considered extremely generous, but they are also wise and usually distract themselves by meditating, thinking of the cosmos and existence. They are noted for possessing very strong moral codes and being altruistic towards most beings. The only exception are the extremely rare Star Dragons who are cunning, evil, and bent on manipulation and destruction. but all of the former traits make the perfect candidates for a Jedi. And the Star Dragons were considered highly skilled and powerful Jedi. Several of them had even elevated to the rank of Master within the Order, with one of them even knowing Jorah Sabaoth. But the specific Star Dragon that unfortunately met his end at the hand of the droid general would be a very young member of the species known as Safa Ha-Rutor, trained by the Jedi Master Bedard Tone in the years leading up to the Clone Wars. This young dragon was one who measured a staggering 100 meters long and could legitimately breathe fire as well. Only 5 months before the first battle of Geonosis, the Jedi had tracked down the creature they knew as the notorious Jedi killer to the world of Nad Diem. The Confederacy of Independent Systems had taken the planet by force, and so in order to liberate it, the Jedi ordered dispatched this master and their Star Dragon apprentice. Since the Republic had no formal military at the time, the two Jedi organized a militia of the locals, though in the end, this would prove to kill a great many civilians. This would be when Grievous finally showed his face. The Jedi attempted to finally capture the Night Slayer, only to be mortally wounded by the general, as the droid general cleaved through the Jedi Master, and then quickly attempted to flee in a starfighter. The young dragon vowed to bring Grievous in, and took off from the planet personally, following the general into deep space, where he attempted to stop his escape. But this mission too would be a failure, as the dragon would die in the atmosphere just above the world. Unfortunately, in the lore, we do not have the details of this fight or the Jedi Dragon's death, but it's likely that Grievous destroyed the Star Dragon using his weapon systems from his starfighter. In many ways, this is General Grievous's most tragic Jedi kill. It was done in the most cowardly way possible, by his ship's weapons while he was on the run. It's a bit of a letdown that we never got to hear of a grand battle between Legends Grievous and a literal Star Dragon Jedi, but the result is the same, and another Jedi is dead. Unfortunately, the large body of the dragon made for an exceptionally large target. What makes this especially sad is the Star Dragons are one of the most noble and rare species of the entire galaxy, and Grievous paid this no mind, murdering the young Padawan's Jedi Master, and then turning his weapons of destruction on the young Jedi. Amazingly though, the Jedi Master actually lived, and would have his right arm and right side of his face replaced with cybernetics. Although he would take on a new Padawan, he would never forget the death of his previous student, and vowed to conquer Grievous. The Jedi would even get his chance on the moon of Belsus later in the Clone Wars, but during his final stand, Grievous revealed a brutal trick: 2 spare arms, fighting the Jedi Master with 4 lightsabers simultaneously. The Jedi was no match, and he would be struck down permanently, attempting to avenge his student, documented as being sliced in half at the waist. I think the most tragic part about this story is that the young dragon never did get to die at the graveyard of dragons with the rest of his people, and was instead gunned down in the atmosphere by a true monster. But anyway, friends, what is your opinion? Is this one of General Grievous's most brutal, impressive, and downright vile Jedi kills? What are your thoughts on there literally being good-hearted dragons flying around in a galaxy far, far away in Star Wars? And would you like to hear more from the Star Dragon species in the future from Legends or canon? Or do you think it's a bit too silly? I think it fits wonderfully in a world of knights and sorcerers, and I love when Star Wars gets weird. But as always, my friends, thank you so much for visiting the channel and the archives today, and as always, may the Force be with you.